Good morning and welcome to Maths with Miss Live. Except sadly, very sadly, I don't know if you can tell, but it's dark here. I'm not live today. I'm actually recording this on Wednesday night because I'm going to be teaching my year 10s today at school. So today, the format's going to be exactly the same, but it's not going to be a live lesson. You can still pop comments in the chat and I will read them later, but I'm afraid at 10 o'clock, I'll be busy teaching, so I won't be able to say hello to you right then. Okay, but nonetheless, it's just going to be as good as it normally is. And remember, I still need that focus from you. I still need your brain, your fabulous brain, just for half an hour of focus and attention so that we can practice some maths. 2 pens if you've got them, so you've got a different colour for marking. Your book, again, squared paper if possible, so you can set your work out really, really neatly. Use a ruler, put a margin down the left-hand side. Don't forget to number your questions as you go through them, because you might not do all the questions. You might do 1, 3, 6, 7, and 8, and you want to make sure when you're marking them that you know which questions we're marking. Okay. And don't forget, if you've got a parent in the room, I've got those parents versus kids challenge questions. Remember, we want to be beating our parents on some of those. You've seen my 10 by 10 grid before. We'll be putting up 10 more numbers on that grid today. And in a few days, we'll actually be starting with a new grid, won't we? Because this one, I think, is more than half full now. Okay, so I've got loads of shout outs to do quickly before we get started, because obviously I'm not going to be able to shout out during the lesson, but if you put comments on the chat, I can shout those out tomorrow. So I have Aliha and Lucas, good morning to you. I have Emily and Janeth. Now Janeth got 30 out of 30 in yesterday's test. She smashed it. Absolutely brilliant. Hello to Jagger. Jagger got 14 out of 30, which is amazing, because she's in year 4. Lucas also got 30 out of 30. Absolutely brilliant. And Ishani, who's only in year 5, got 29 out of 30. So I'm delighted that you're all doing so well. Quick shout out to Amy, to Oscar, to Rose E, to Betty, to Jagger, to Ryan, to Rena, to Dan Fan, and Aliha. I think I've got everybody. Okay. Right. Let's start by having a quick look at yesterday's 5 review questions. Let's pop these up on the board for you. Okay, let's take a look. So we want the prime numbers between 50 and 70. Again, a prime number is a number that is only divisible by 1 and itself. It has exactly 2 factors, and 1 is not a prime number. We have 53, 59, 61, and 67. Second question, what is the lowest common multiple of 15 and 9? The answer is 45. We'll be looking at that question in a bit more detail later. We have a subtraction question with fractions. 3 and 1/3. Subtract 3/5 gives us 2 and 11 over 15. 36% of £950 is £342. Again, we'll take a look at that today. And the square root of 1,296. That was a mean question. The answer to that is 36. Hopefully you will remember the trick about using prime factors, that upside down tree. My daughter calls it a weeping willow tree because the branches grow down, and that helps you discover the square root of a number. All right, so I think it's about time you guys did some work. So I'm going to put on the part 1 questions. Let's go. Two minutes. 30 seconds to go. Part 2 coming up. Thirty seconds to go. And finally, here is part 3. Thirty seconds to go. Okay, your time is up. Let's take a look at the answers. So part 1, question 1, is 43. Question 2 is 93. Question 3 is 2. Question 4 is 3. Question 5 is 77. Question 6 is 8. Question 7 is 87. Question 8 is 24.8. Question 9 is 12. And question 10, our parents versus kids challenge. The cube root of 216 is 6. Don't forget to total up your scores as you go along. And please pop your scores in the live chat for me. Okay, part 2. Question 1 is 46. Question 2 is 8. Question 3 is 5. Question 4 is 73. Question 5 is 27. Question 6 is 7. Question 7 is 78. Question 8 is 9. Question 9 is 5.3. And question 10, the parents versus kids challenge, 12.5% of £600 is £75. Again, total up your score as you're going. Final one, part 3. Question 1 is -10. Question 2 is 9/10. Question 3 is 4. Question 4 is 52. Question 5 is 29. And the parent versus kids challenge. This was a question submitted by Jake. Now, this is such a difficult question. I've given it 5 marks actually. And we're going to have a look at that one on the board together. But piece A is 51 centimetres long. Piece B is 31 centimetres long. And piece C is 8 centimetres long. If you got all 3 of those correct, you're going to get 5 marks. If you got 2 out of 3 correct, you get 3 marks. And if you got 1 correct, then you get 1 mark. Excellent. Okay, right, let's have a look at some of those on the board. After, I always forget this, don't I? After we've ticked them off, and I don't have my assistant today because my assistant has gone to bed. So I'm going to have to do it on my own, but we'll do it as quickly as possible. We need to tick off those numbers because we're getting close now to filling that 100 grid, that 10 by 10 grid. So let's do it quickly, even though I don't have my helper. So we have number 43. Let's get that one done. 43. Number 93. That was the answer to question 2 in part 1. Okay, 2 and 3 have gone. 77 was the answer to question 5. 8 has gone. 87. Okay, so let's pop that there. 24.8. Well, we've got 25. 12 is gone and 6 is gone. Okay, part 2. 46 can go there. 8 and 5 have gone. What about 73? Okay, 73 can go here. 27's gone. 7's gone. 78. 78. Brilliant. 78 can go there. 9 has gone. 5 and 75 has gone. Okay. Final part 3. Okay, to see if we've got a couple more numbers. We have got 52. Let's pop that one there. 31 is gone and 8 is gone. Oh, hold on. 52 we've done. 29. Let's do that one. That was the answer to question 5. And then 51 was the length of piece A in that challenging question at the end. And 31 and 8 have gone. Okay, brilliant. Now let's get started. So we've got some tricky questions there. So let's have a look and see if we can break them down a little bit on the board and make them a little bit easier. I am going to start with, this is part 1, question 9, which was the lowest common multiple of 3 and 4. Now, we haven't talked about what lowest common multiple means yet, so we're going to do that right now. Okay? So, the lowest common multiple. Now, I'm just going to say one thing very quickly, which I was not expecting, because it's 10:30 at night and I'm expecting people to watch this tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock in the morning. I thought that's how I'd set it up, but obviously I'm a little bit new to YouTube and I'm still learning the ropes. And I've got somebody watching me, Rasul, Shakur, hello, fabulous. And you got 19 marks, absolutely brilliant. It's great to see you. I'm not quite sure how you've managed to sneak on 12 hours ahead of time, but I'm delighted that you're here. Let's go with our lowest common multiple. Okay, hopefully you can see that on the screen. Maybe I'll bring it a little bit closer. Okay, so multiples. When we hear the word multiple, we want to think times tables. Times tables, okay? So the multiples of 3 would be 3, 6, 9, 12, etc. Okay, and then common, if we've got 2 different numbers, then when we're talking about something that's common, it means it appears in both number sequences. Finally, lowest, well, that just means the smallest number that is common to both lists of numbers. So the 2 numbers we've got are 3 and 4. Okay, so the multiples of 3. It's really important that when we write out the multiples of 3, the first number that we write is 3. Okay, so we're going to write that first. So we've got 3, and we're literally just writing out our 3 times table. 3, 6, 9, 12. Not quite sure how far to go. Maybe I'll stop there and I'll see if I've done enough numbers. All right, now my other number was 4. So I'm going to work out the multiples of 4. Again, I am just writing out my 4 times table and I'm starting with the number 4. 1 multiplied by 4 gives me 4. So we have 4, 8, 12, 16. And we can just keep going. In fact, we could put some little dots here to say that we hadn't finished. We could just keep on going. And if you get a question when it asks you to list out multiples, it'll probably say list the first 5 or 10 or whatever, but it will tell you how many multiples to list out. Okay, so we've written out our multiples, so we can tick that bit. Now we need to look at the ones that are common. The ones that are common to both. Okay, I can actually only see one that's common. Maybe I should have gone just a little bit further to demonstrate that there are lots if you keep going. But in this case, we've just got 2. Okay, so we count along. Well, 3 is not here, 6 isn't here, 9 isn't here. But look, our 12s match. So we have a common multiple, which is 12. If we keep going, you will see that we next have a common multiple of 24. And if we kept going again, the next multiple would be 36. And then 48. We actually would get the 12 times table as it happens in this example. So we've worked out our common multiples. The last thing is this number lowest. Well, we know that lowest means the smallest number. So therefore, the lowest common multiple of 3 and 4 is 12. Okay, now you will sometimes see lowest common multiple written as a 3-letter acronym, LCM of 3 and 4 is 12. Underline your answer. Job done. Okay, excellent. Let's move on to the next question. So our next question was looking at those, remember again, those prime factors, those factor trees that we were drawing. That is new to some of you, and I know it's a little bit tricky. We're going to do one more, and we're going to show you a little trick that we can do with it when it comes to the part 1, question 10. And that was to find the cube root of 216. I'm going to rub this off again, pause it if you need to copy it down. So we want the cube root of 200, the cube root of 216. Right. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. I might know that 2 cubed gives me 8, or 3 cubed gives me 27. I might even know that 4 cubed gives me 64. Maybe even 5 cubed gives me 125. But I don't know what this one is. So I need to work it out, and I need a technique to do that. Remember our prime factors, our upside down tree with the branches going down. So here's my 216. Okay. I'm going to, well, I know that 2 is a factor because it's an even number. So I'm going to do that one first. So if I halve or divide by 2, 216, I'm going to get 108. Okay. I'm going to keep it simple. It's an even number. I'm going to divide it by 2 again. So I'm going to get 54, and I'm going to get 2. Okay? Let's try again. We've still got an even number. Again, keep it simple. We don't need to make it complicated. So I've got another 2, and this time I've got half of 54 gives me 27. I've not got an even number anymore, so I can't divide by 2. Hold on a minute there. I know that 27 is in the 3 times table, so I can divide by 3. So I've got 3 multiplied by 9 gives me 27. Hopefully you can still see this. I know some of you couldn't see all the board yesterday. And then finally, I can end up with all my prime factors. Those are my prime numbers that I multiplied together, and when I multiply them all together, I end up with 216. Well, you might wonder why on earth that's going to help me work out the cube root of 216, but let's take a look. Let's take a look. So I've got, remember the cube root means something multiplied by itself, and then multiplied by itself again is going to give me 216. All right. Okay. So let's have a look. So we've got 3 boxes, and we know what is in the box needs to be exactly the same. I've got a 2 and a 2 and a 2 and a 3 and a 3 and a 3. So I'm going to put those numbers in those boxes. So I've got a 2 that can go in each box. I've got a 3 that can go in each box. And remember how we need to multiply them all together. So I've got 2 multiplied by 3, 2 multiplied by 3, and 2 multiplied by 3. Let's just check that. So that's my first 2. And then I've got a 3. And I've got another 2. Another 3. Another 2. And finally another 3. Okay. So now let's look at what we've said. We've said that 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. Multiplied by 6. Multiplied by 6 gives us 216. Okay, so the cube root of 216, the number that you need to multiply by itself 3 times, is 6. 6 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 6 gives us 216. Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to do one more. And we're going to look at some percentages. I do want to do 2 more, actually, but I don't know if I'm going to have time. Okay, percentage question. These can often be quite difficult. We've got a percentage of an amount, but it's quite hard. It's 12.5%. Okay, so we want to work out 12.5% of, and the amount of money was £600. Okay, so £600 is my total amount. £600 is all of it. So £600 is my 100%, and that's the first thing I'm going to write down. And once we've got that, it makes it much easier to do the rest. So we're going to write 100% is £600. So if I know what 100% is, I can work out 10%. Because if I divide this side by 10, and I divide this side by 10, 10% is going to therefore be 600 divided by 10. It's going to be £60. 2.5% though, that's tricky, isn't it? I've got my 10, but I still need to find 2.5. So this is where a nice trick comes in. So if I halve or divide by 2, that 10, I'm going to get 5%. If I do the same on this side and I divide by 2, I'm going to get £30. I'm nearly there. I've got 15%, but remember, I need 25%. But I know that half of 5 is 2.5%. Let's try. So 2.5%, which is half of 5%, so divided by 2 again, is, dividing by 2 on this side, remember we need to do the same to both sides, 2.5% is going to be £15. So we're almost finished. One last step. We know what 10% is. We know what 2.5% is. We need to add them together to get 12.5%. So 12.5% is, where is it? £60 plus 15. Underlining your answer gives us £75. Okay, hope that makes sense and you can see all the working there. Have we got time to squeeze one more in? I think we might have to save it, and I'm really looking forward to that one because that's that bar modelling question that Jake sent us in. So we will do that as our first explanation tomorrow, because now it's back to you guys to write down those review questions. Okay, don't forget to pause your video to get those review questions down. and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Bye bye.